Hello and welcome to episode 7 of the Logo Files. This is the show where I, your humble host, will take one specific logo and give you my own thoughts and opinions. Now today, we are heading to the land down under and looking at an Australian logo today. Oh, quite good, I believe. As we are looking at one of the logos of one of the 3 commercial television channels in Australia. Yes, now I must warn you, and I must warn you very clearly here, if you suffer from motion sickness, well, you might want to prepare yourself. So, without further ado, let us welcome today's topic, the one and only Network 10. So let's take a look at how Network 10 presented itself. So we begin on this cloudy background as we see 3 discs flying away from the camera and swooping around, but suddenly they leave 3 streaks as they fly away completely off screen. But suddenly they come back on screen and the words "The Entertainment Network" appear. Now the camera is panning to look at it from the side and the discs go BOOM as they take the TEN from the words and they slowly fly and spin around, and they get closer together, forming the now iconic 10 logo. Now, for all of 10 seconds, there's a lot going on. I mean, we have the flying around of the discs, the streaks being left behind, the wording coming in, and the discs bolstering through the wording and the formation of the logo. In 10 seconds, there's a lot of information to convey. And honestly, for this logo being made in the early 90s, it was, well, revolutionary, because it was made with the most up-to-date kind of CGI. I mean, come on. The best we in Britain could do was probably the Channel 4 blocks. And that came out 9 years earlier. So, comparing the Channel 4 blocks with the 10 logo, well, there's a lot of differences, probably because of the period of time that both items were made. So now let's turn our attention to the jingle and fanfare that 10 used. Now, I really think this is quite a big deal, because the way the ident is presented is quite bolsterous. It's bold, it's big, it's brilliant. And what better way to complement it than with an entire orchestra? It's as if Network 10 had already beat Universal to the punch with an ultra-majestic fanfare. It's like they were trying to see who had the more majestic fanfare, and presumably Channel 10. And you know what? I'm actually quite surprised that they used this as an ultra-majestic fanfare. I mean, when you think about it, right, 10 has quite a big catalogue of entertainment, because they are known as the Entertainment Network. In fact, that's what the name probably stands for. But when you listen to the fanfare, or the jingle, you'll know that it's big, because 10 is a big network, and they have lots of big names of entertainment. So, it's very well fitting. So, where do we begin with this logo and its longevity? Well, this is where things start to get a bit confusing. Now, allow me to clear it up for you. So this logo first appeared in 1991, so we know the start date. It was in 1991. Now, you'll note at the very beginning of this episode, I put 1999. Well, that's when this promo, or this ident, actually disappeared or was stopped being used. But the 10 logo itself actually still kept being used. However, when we were talking about the jingle, I showed you the current Channel 10 logo. That's the one they're still using today. But when exactly did the 10 logo actually disappear? Well, I can actually reveal that answer for you. For you see, this logo was first introduced on the 13th of January 1991. Now, it was obvious that it would be introduced since it was now owned by the Canadian company CanWest. Now, in 1999, the logo got a slight revision. However, it was meant to be only a slight revision, as the idents from 1997 still used the 1991 logo. It wasn't until 2002 that they finally decided to slap on the current wordmark and the current style of the logo. It then got a slight revision once Channel 10 finally moved into high-definition broadcasting, with the ring now being white instead of yellow and being thinner. And then it was finally announced in 2018 that the 10 logo would be completely redesigned, changing back to the number 10 instead of the word mark. So we can officially say that this Channel 10 logo was in use from 1991 to 2018. So, what are my final thoughts on this really amazing logo? Well, what can I say? Well, one thing I can say is that it's really outstanding. For a channel that devotes itself to entertainment, both light and serious, it shows that 10 really knew how to sell themselves through their identity. And even though it's had several different alterations, it still kept that same premise, a simple word in a circle. Yeah, it still kept that premise. And it, for a very basic logo, it does show that even the simplest things can become iconic. And so with that brings us to the end of this week's episode of the Logo Files. And boy, was it a star-studded one. It was really cool seeing all the components that made up this big, boisterous logo. And we just hope that this logo, even though it's not being used anymore, will continue to be remembered as a very entertaining logo for a very entertaining network. So, if you would like to see more episodes of this series, don't forget to leave a like, maybe even comment, and subscribe. But you can also watch this and the past 6 episodes on the Season 1 playlist. Now, before we go, I do have to mention this episode is being uploaded a day late. Again, I am sorry, but episode 8 will in fact still be coming out on Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday the 6th of November. So, be sure to look out for it. And so, there we go. Only one thing left to say now. This case is closed. We'll see you next week.